South Carolina going on the road between the hedges to play number one, Georgia. The Bulldogs are 27.5 point favorites. 2:30 p.m. game on CBS. I think you look at this initially and go, guys, why on earth is this one of the featured games of the week? Trey, I'm going to turn to you here because you pointed out in pre-show prep, Spencer Rattler has not been an issue. He's not been a red flag for this South Carolina team. You feel like that number is kind of egregiously large.
I do. I think it's disrespectful to how Spencer Rattler has played this season. Now, I know I can already hear the people saying that Spencer Rattler is, not a great quarterback. And I definitely agree with that over his career as a whole. But if you haven't been paying attention the last 2 weeks, the guy's completed 83.3% of his passes against North Carolina and Furman. And I know that North Carolina is not known for their defensive prowess, especially against the passing game, and Furman is an FCS team. But if you just think about what that would have been last year, it's probably closer, even against those two teams, to the 50% range than it is to the 80 to 85% range. So the guy was the SEC Player of the Week last week for a reason. He only missed on 2 passes last week against FCS Furman. And I think that the offense is going to be ready to go. I think that they're going to have, Shane Beamer and the boys are going to have a really good game plan in this one. I'm pulling up the Winsipedia right now, but South Carolina has been a bugaboo for Georgia in the past, right? They've been on cruise control. I think it was 2019 when they go into Athens, I believe, and knock off the Bulldogs. And that's definitely one that Georgia always remembers. I think they're going to keep it close this week. I think Georgia wins this one handily in the end. I don't think that they're going to really necessarily, we're going to look back at this one and they've struggled, but I do think that they'll keep it relatively close. And listen, I know Georgia won this one 48-7 last year in Columbia, but different set of players, different scheme, different, quarterback for the Bulldogs in this one. I think South Carolina keeps it closer than the 27.5. If you're looking for a reason for why we're highlighting this game when it's a 4-touchdown spread, this is really the only time we get to see a possible upset game of Georgia. And I say that term loosely. It's 28-point spread. I know we're not really putting them on upset watch, but the next time that Georgia plays a home game of this caliber, I think we're looking all the way at November 11th when Ole Miss comes to town. So it's going to be a long time before we're seriously considering the Dogs even possibly on upset watch this week. I don't think they are this week, but this is going to be, I think, a game that's closer than what many people are expecting.
Garrett, the conventional wisdom and a point that I'm getting ready to make is the play in the trenches for South Carolina has been really concerning. If Spencer Rattler is able to stay upright and avoid turnovers, I think it actually is feasible to say that South Carolina could put the Dogs on upset watch. It's not like Georgia has blown everyone away on offense the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the big point as to why I am taking them plus the 27.5. At the end of the day, I don't think that Georgia has proved they're an elite offense. I still think they're missing something at wide receiver to really help out Carson Beck. He hasn't been bad. He hasn't had a bad season so far. Just hasn't really been impressive yet. He's completed a high percentage of his passes. I'll pull up his stats again one more time real quick. High percentage of his passes, 72% for 577, 3 touchdowns, and interception. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's against some poor competition. And, the yards per attempt may be slightly lacking in that department at just over 9. But, I don't know. I'm not convinced on Georgia's offense quite yet. And yeah, South Carolina, they can't do anything on the line of scrimmage. They're piss poor on line of scrimmage. They ran the ball for like 3 yards all year. It's just really bad. And a lot of that came out of the 700 sacks that Spencer Rattler took as well. So that's not going to help your cause. But I do think that Spencer Rattler has done enough so far to show that even when the rest of the offense isn't working, things are going to go just fine, and they can find a way to overcome that. So I'm looking forward to watching this one. I think Xavier Leggett has a really good game in this one. Kind of shows out a little bit on the big stage. And I don't think they win. I don't think they really compete with Georgia, but I think they cover the 27.5.
It is interesting. I dove into the numbers, and we've got, I believe last I checked, 55% of the money coming in on Georgia to cover what is a large spread. South Carolina is only 5-10 against the spread in their last 15 games. Now, I'm certainly not the betting expert that's going to be able to tell you why that is, but I do think it's an interesting trend that builds to kind of my gut reaction for this game. Georgia's due for a net crack. They have not really had it. They've started slow on offense in both of these first two games. Carson Beck's completing 72% of his passes. That's not necessarily the issue. The running game has really struggled for Georgia. But, Garrett, as I led into this point with, South Carolina in the trenches is abysmal. And I think it's going to be a long game for Spencer Rattler. I think he's going to be running for his life on offense. I think the defense is really going to struggle to stop anything that Georgia throws against them. Kind of elite playmakers or not aside, Georgia is a very physical football team. And credit to North Carolina, they upped their physicality this offseason, right? They showed up to Charlotte with a new and improved edge. Georgia's that on an exponential scale. And so for me, I know it's a high number, but at home, the Bulldogs are going to be ready. Trey, you mentioned it. Their home schedule sucks. Mm-hmm. Folks are going to be ready to see some actual competition against an SEC team. I think they're going to ruin the Gamecocks' day. I'm taking Georgia minus the number. I may look back and laugh at myself for taking a 4-touchdown spread, but I also won't be just shocked if Georgia, wins this one 42-10 going away.
Gracious, how about